Hello, everybody. My name's Freda, and I'm going to try to help you navigate digital downloads and see if this helps a little bit with some of the new people. I was new once too, so I understand. On the screen, you'll notice that there is a file folder that has a zipper on it. That is called a zip file. A zip file is just a way to compress a large amount of information so that you can transfer it easily between different people and devices. Now, my screen won't record exactly everything I'm talking about, so just pay close attention and we'll get you through it whether you see it happening on screen or not. If you right-click on one of the zip files, you will see on a Windows anyway, I have Windows 11 and 10 would work the same way. You would go down to or up to wherever it is, where it says extract all. Another screen will pop up and it'll show where it's going to put it to make the folder out of the zip file. That's fine. If you don't know where it's going, hit the browse button and look to see where it's going to put it. It normally puts it in the same place your zip file is located at. On my computer, it's the downloads folder because that's where I downloaded it to. Most defaults are set up to download to your default download folder. Okay. After that window pops up at the bottom, it'll say extract. All you have to do is hit extract, and when it's done, you'll have a folder that is the same name as your zip file. Because that's easy to know where it goes, I personally like to take my zip file and put it into the download folder so that if I need the original files again, let's say I've changed something, then they're in that zip file. Now, here are all folders of the Iris Garden collection. The one folder that I was using the zip file for has this in it. It has the Iris Garden Blooms stamp. It has the Iris Garden Blooms PDF. It has the Iris Garden Blooms PNG no line version. By the way, the no line version is just a version that some of the ladies or men use for coloring. It eliminates an outline color so that it looks more like an art piece instead of coloring in the lines like a coloring book. So that's all that's for. We're going to be using the lined version of this stamp. Now I'm going to shut this one down and open up my Cricut desktop. Now, Cricut's changed over the years. It might be something new you'll see here if you haven't seen it for a while. This is what mine opens up to look like. My name's at the top here. I'm going to hit New Project. That opens up a blank canvas. At the left, you'll notice that there's an Upload button. When I push that, another area opens up. You'll see some uploads already on there. I'm going to hit Upload Image again. Now, here we are to where I can drag and drop a folder or a file, or I can browse for one. I'm going to hit Browse on this one. And it's already opening up to that file I showed you I wanted to use. Now, you don't see all the other pieces in here because they are not the kind of files that you can easily take into Cricut. They're just not, they're not compatible. So I'm going to hit the line folder and hit Open at the bottom, and you'll see it's loaded. And it tells you the different kind of files you can load into Cricut. Then you hit continue. Now this would be where I could remove the background or different pieces that I don't like. I can erase or remove. These PNGs that you're getting from Heartfelt are already, they already have the background removed. So there's nothing you have to do to these PNGs. In fact, I'm going to hit the zoom in here. You'll notice that checkerboard like texture in the background, that's transparency. So you'll notice it's transparent every place around except for the stamp is. And that's the way we want a PNG, so we can cut the outline of the stamp. If we remove the background from the stamp, it would cut out every little line that you're seeing on the stamp. And we don't want that. So go ahead and hit apply and continue. Now, this is kind of new. They're setting up where they can sort colors into different layers, or you have that's the multi-layer, or you have the single layer version, which is just strictly a cut outline. You can cut it out of any color paper, it doesn't matter, but it's to cut. The next one is your flat graphic. That's your PNG. That's your print and cut. That's the one you want to select. You select it and you hit continue. Now, here's where you can name your file. I'm leaving it the name of the actual stamp. I'm going to put a tag in here called Iris Flower. Sorry, helps if I type it right. Heartfelt Creations. Now, that will allow me to look for any stamps under Iris or Flower or Heartfelt Creations, depending on the tag I put in. So that helps me find things later. That's always a nice thing to have. You can also sort them into different things down here. If they're borders or flowers, here would be one I could check as flowers. Now, anyway, upload. And you're going to see it go into my canvas. Now it is large, and the reason it's large is because there's a high, it's produced at a high DPI or dots per inch. Now at the top, you'll notice there's a size. Size has a little lock right in the middle of it for the width and the height. That lock, when unlocked, if you change the width, it's only going to change the width and leave the height the same. If you put the lock it and you change the width, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put in 5 for 5 inches, hit the tab, and see I didn't get it locked right. So I'm going to back up. Over here on the left is an arrow going backwards. That's how you undo your last thing you did. Hit undo. I'm going to hit the stamp again, select it. That shows it's selected with that square around it. I'm going to hit the lock again. Now it's locked. And I'm going to resize this to 5. Now it's resized properly. The thing is, you can resize anything that way. You'll notice there's a size at the top here. You can also take your left mouse button and put it on one of the corners and pull it up or back to resize it. And as you do that, the size will change. Now, I don't want these two pieces to always be together. So I'm going to do something that is Cricut's version of cropping something. It's kind of handy, actually, because when you do their version of it, it doesn't delete anything else around it. So you get to keep the whole thing, but crop out something else or make it its own piece. So I'm going to select a shape on the left. You'll see shapes there. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to select a circle. Now I'm going to bring this circle over. Just drag it over with your left mouse button. And I'm going to make it big enough to cover part of that individual stamp there. I don't want attached to the other one. Once it's over it, I can select just by pushing my left mouse button down and drawing it across the stamp and the shape. It selects both of them. By the way, you can only do one at a time. So you can't put a whole bunch of different stamps in here and try to do a bunch. It's one at a time. You go down to the bottom of the screen here, and you'll see that it says slice. What you're going to do now is slice that out of the other part of the stamp. Now, when I've done that, you'll see how it's changed here. When I pull this away, right there, you've got your own little stencil, by the way. You can keep this and have it cut out if you want to. I personally am not going to keep this right now. It would make a great mask if you needed to mask off that particular stamp. That's a fast way to make one. Anyway, I'm going to delete it. Here is just the cut portion of this file. It just cuts the outline that you're seeing here, and you can use that if you need it. If you don't, we don't in Cricut need this for any particular thing, so I'm getting rid of mine. Now, I can go over to the stamp and pull this away. Now I have two individual stamps on my screen, and I can move them around. I can make them bigger, smaller, whatever, make 2 or 3 of them. If I select one of them, I can duplicate it. There's a duplicate button up here. Sorry. There's a duplicate button right here. And I hit it and it duplicates it. Now we've got 2. Now, these are all set up for print and cut. So I'm going to go ahead and hit make. Sorry, make. It says, do you want to save this project? I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to put it under Iris Garden Blooms. And I'm going to put it in a flower category so that it'll come up there. Hit save. And now it's showing you the sheet and how it would lay out to cut these 3 PNGs out individually on a piece of paper. Now, Cricut has a couple of things it can do here. One of them is if you had a bunch more print and cuts and you needed a bigger piece of paper, or you wanted to do a larger piece of paper, over here to the left, you drop down, it's got different sizes here. Cricut is one of them that will let you do a tabloid size piece of paper or an 11 by 17. It also does 11.7 by 16.5, which is an A3 size. If you have a mat and a piece of paper that big, you're welcome to do it on those too. So anyway, you do that. And I'm satisfied with the size I have. You'll notice here that there are dotted lines and corners. In each of the corners, there's a V. That is the registration mark. That's the part that Cricut will read to know where your shapes are to cut out. Now, if I don't like how they're laid out here at this point, I can move them. But once I print them, that's going to read whatever way these were originally. I'm going to leave them this way so you can see what happens. Now, I do not have my Cricut connected right now, so this is, I can only go as far as printing. So we're going to hit continue, and we're going to hit send to printer. Now you notice the shapes stayed exactly where I put them. The registration marks are where they were. There is an option on the print screen that allows the image to do what they call a print bleed. The bleed is so that it takes the color of the edge and smudges it around the whole piece so that if it does cut out, it won't leave a white area around it. I personally don't like this. I almost always turn this off. It keeps my image crisper, so I turn that off and then I hit print. Now my printer's not on right now, so that's as far as I can go right now. But basically, if I sent this to the printer already and you were hooked up to your machine, you could pick what option to use to cut those out, and it's ready to go. You put it in the left-hand corner of your mat, kind of like it's shown over here, and you put it under the guides to go into your Cricut. You push the left button on your Cricut that puts it into the guides and the rollers. And when you have selected how you want it to cut, the middle button will start blinking. And this is on a regular, I've got a Cricut Maker, but any of the Explorer models, I think the buttons are all in the same place. Anyway, when that button starts blinking, you're ready to cut. You just push that button and it goes. When it's done, if it's not cut all the way through, you can kind of lift a corner maybe and check. You can hit that middle button again and it will recut everything as long as you do not take your mat out of the Cricut. That's as simple as it gets. That's done. When you take the mat out, it's done. You just have to pull all the pieces that you don't want off, get the pieces that you do, and you're ready to go. By the way, you can color these before you put them into the Cricut. As long as your Cricut can read the registration marks, it will cut out how you have it laid out when you printed it. That's an advantage for me. It saves on me using other paper to keep from coloring on my table or whatever. It allows me to blend some things and go outside the lines once in a while. But when it cuts, it will cut right where it's supposed to, and all those outside areas will be gone. I hope this helps you with your Cricut. If I can answer any questions, please ask. And thank you for listening. This is my first recording. I hope it helps. I'm sorry I didn't have my Cricut hooked up for this, but that should get you right there. Cricut, Silhouette, I'm sure Brother Scan and Cut, Scale, the different softwares have videos to help you understand what to do and when to do it. I personally have not used the Brother Scan and Cut, so I'm not much help there, but I have used Scale in the past. It's been a while, and Silhouette as well. So I hope this helps everybody. I hope you have a nice day, and thank you.